Echo, lights on.
Feature code 0 deactivated.
So y'all want a tour of this place? I'll give you guys a tour. I guess we better start with the beginning. This is my main server. Don't let that Apple logo fool you. Because it runs Linux. Technically, it runs VMware. It's a bare metal hypervisor, 128 gigs of RAM, 4 terabytes of all solid state storage, and it's 8-core Intel Xeon. I think the measurement that it puts out is about 18 gigahertz, which is abso-fucking-lutely crazy. Of course, before I just plug it right into the wall, it goes through a UPS. It's got to. Oh yeah, and that's the Surface Pro 3 with the cracked screen. I just used that to locally monitor this thing. It's got a cracked screen, so I put duct tape on it on the sides so you can't notice it really. And you know, it works. So if we look over there, these are the machines, the virtual machines that are on said server. DC01, DC02. My IT guys out there, y'all should know what these mean. But for everybody else, domain controller number 1, domain controller number 2, and I'll get into why I have 2 for such a small network, because there is a reason. FS01, the file server, Mail01, obviously Microsoft Exchange 2013, because I don't want to upgrade any higher than that for obvious reasons. MTS, I'll get into that one later. PBX01, that runs asterisk for all the phones down here. PS01, that is a print server. WLTS, so that's obviously some kind of terminal server. WL, I have it mean Windows Legacy, so if you actually open it, you can see that we're running server 2003 here. Excuse me. Excuse me. And then obviously WXTS is the last one. WX, Windows 10. So it's running Windows Server 2016. Because that's the same era as Windows 10. Now, I don't know if you realize, but I am logged into this hypervisor using Active Directory credentials. It says so up in the corner there. You see, I centralize a lot of stuff here based on the Active Directory side. Speaking of which, oh, damn it. I knew it was going to do that. It always pops over to the cameras. VMware makes it act weird. Speaking of which, the domain controller right here. Get your ass out of full screen. Damn it, it did it again. What's doing that is down here there's a KVM switch that allows me to use this monitor on the left for up to 4 different machines. Right now I've got 3 machines connected to it. Oh, excuse me. The monitor on the left, the keyboard, and the mouse. Number 1 goes to this Acer desktop right here, which actually is dual booted between Windows 10 version 20 H2, so 20H2, and on the other partition is Windows XP Professional with Service Pack 3. Because I'm a firm believer that XP still is good as long as you have it behind a firewall. Because Lord knows this built-in firewall is crap in 2021. And then the very bottom shelf, I have extra batteries for the many SpectraLink I cannot talk today. Handsets I have down here. Now, that'll be later, I'll show. So, that's my domain controller. It runs Server 2012. I'm not going to log into it right now because for some reason it likes to act super slow for the longest time, and then it'll work. But I don't have time for that. DC02. You can already tell what it runs. If you did not say Mac OS 10, then I don't know where your head's been. Anyway. It is running Mountain Lion server, so that's 10.8.5. The reason why I don't have a more recent version of Apple server is because Mountain Lion server is the last version of Mac OS server to support the Workgroup Manager. When Maverick server came out, Workgroup Manager was gone, and you had to use Profile Manager, which does not work with older Macs at all. Now, Mountain Lion server actually didn't come with Workgroup Manager. I had to download it separately from the App Store, which is cool. I got it. And it runs. Basically what it does is it tells all of the Apple machines that it needs to authenticate against it as well as the Active Directory server. So just how Active Directory spits out group policy information to govern machines on the Windows side, and it also spits out authentication and contact information, the Apple machine can't read Windows group policy. It's just not possible. So I have the Workgroup Manager on this server in conjunction with the Authentication Manager on the Windows server governing the Apple machines. It's called the Magic Triangle. And basically, when a user logs into a Mac, it asks the Windows Active Directory if the password's correct. If that says yes, then it'll ask the Apple Open Directory server, Workgroup Manager, is said user part of any of the groups that are governed? And if the Apple server comes back yes, then the client Apple computer will be governed down. Like you won't be able to remove certain items from the dock, you won't be able to change the wallpaper, yada yada yada. You know how it works. And it's switched again. I need to find a way to lock that KVM in place because it's annoying. So I'm going to close those guys out there. FS01, it actually runs FreeBSD. There is no mouse input from it whatsoever. There we go. So that's all you see from the VMware side. If you want to change any of the settings on the file server, which you never should have to, you need to go to the web browser and pull up the file server, and then you can log in and change stuff. But the file server, that's why I really recommend FreeNAS file servers. They are amazing. See, I used to use just a standard Ubuntu server machine for file storage. That was great and all, but it didn't do what I wanted it to do 100%. It probably did about 75% of it. FreeNAS is amazing because it plugs into Active Directory, so I don't have to create users on the file server. I just connect it to Active Directory, and it can pull the usernames and passwords from Active Directory, thus making it single sign-on. So, that taken care of. It spits out an SMB connection, and it will fool Windows. Here, I'll actually show you. Let me just get to here. That's my network storage right there. Look at that, 2.02 terabytes. Meanwhile, my hard drive only has 10 gigs available on that partition. Doesn't matter. I don't ever store anything on the hard drive of the machine. I always store it on a file server. In my network, the hard drive of the machine is designed for the applications. I don't store nothing on the local machine's hard drives, ever. So if I right click here and I go to my properties here, you'll see it is NTFS. And you know, that would make sense if it was all Windows in the system, but I know for a fact that that partition, that entire file server is not NTFS. It is not. It is formatted in ext4, which is a Linux-based partition scheme. So, what's really nice is that when you connect to it over SMB, it fools Windows into thinking it's NTFS so that Windows will play nice with it. I mean, it'll work if even if it wasn't. It would just say unknown file system. So, yeah. It fools Windows into thinking it's NTFS, and that's what's really cool. Also, if you go to, let me go to the root of the file server. Now, I'm logged in as my own account. So if I go to the root of the home folder share on the file server, you see, and I don't know why I have administrator visible. It's probably something I did wrong. But anyway, only my folder is visible there, and a document that I created mistakenly, which I'm going to actually move into my folder. There we go. And I'm going to move it into my documents folder. So even though administrator is visible for some reason, I can't open it. And there's folders inside this home folder for every user. They're just hidden. So that's one real amazing thing about this file server. So anyway, I think I'm going to cut this video short, and I'll come back for part 2. So as you can see, we're back. What I've shown you so far is basically just how many servers, well, by servers I mean virtual servers, I have. And let's take, here, you know what? Let's take a look at the actual specs of my hypervisor. So we're going to just pull that up. And I've used DNS on my network, so I really should just have to map to ESXi, and I think I have to put a slash after it so it knows not to Google search it. There it is. And screw SSL, it's on my local network. So yeah, now I'm going to log in using my Active Directory credentials, the same one I logged into the computer as. I think that was wrong. I know my big fat fingers hit more than one key at the same time, but it worked. I love this keyboard. So yeah, I am logged on as an Active Directory user, the same one I logged on to Windows here as. And let's have a look-see here at these specs. So it's a 18.1 gigahertz on the CPU. Memory is 127.99, so that's 128 gigs. And capacity of the storage is 3.64 terabytes. There are 4 1 terabyte drives in there. So some of it's used for obviously the partition information and all that jazz, because I RAIDed them together. Well, no, I didn't RAID them together. I had VMware here create a data. What is it? What the hell do they call it? Data store. So it does whatever it does. It's a VMFS6 type data store. And there's actually 2 of them. Oh, you know what? That's why. Because one of the hard drive, one of the solid state drives is specifically separated, and the other 3 are in another data store. See, I keep all of the operating systems itself on the boot data store. So that's like all the actual images, the virtual machines are stored on 1 terabyte drive, and the file server data store is given exclusively to FS01. That's pretty cool. We can also see here that all the machines are here. They're all normal, which means they're all feeding a heartbeat back to ESXi. You can see the list of operating systems I have here. I wonder if I can expand that a little bit. Yep. So you can see that there is a whole bunch. Now I'm going to talk about what MTS is. MTS, really all it is, it's a machine running Mountain Lion. Come on. There we go. It's a machine running Mountain Lion that I've downloaded before they went out of business, Code Rebel's IRAP software. So really I can just get onto this using Microsoft Remote Desktop Connection, which is absolutely slick. I love that, because I can log into an Apple computer using a remote desktop on a Windows machine. Thus I can make any Windows machine down here have an Apple image on it and use it like it's a Mac. Just a little tidbit of information there. Code Rebel went out of business. There's another company out there doing it with more recent versions of Mac OS X, but they charge you an arm and a leg. Code Rebel used to charge, but if you were able to do, if you had a machine running Lion 10.7, you could get the software for free. So I spun up a machine of Lion running and ran it, and it works. I originally tried multiple ways to kind of hack the free version onto Mountain Lion, editing the installer, you know, all sorts of other shit like that. But none of it worked because it's smarter than me. Just kidding. It just is programmed against all forms of hackery, if you will. All right. Next, let me close that out. And I don't need VMware open either. You can basically see that this is how a normal desktop operates down here. Restart. And hopefully it didn't change itself, because I had this thing set perfectly before. The 2 screens on the left are plugged in. The left one to the VGA port, the middle one to the DVI port. Ah, there we go. So you can see Windows bootloader allows me to choose. And the screen all the way on the right is actually powered by a USB 3.0 to DVI adapter. So Windows XP, being how old it is, and these machines are designed for Vista, Windows XP, the driver says to spit out the video signal simultaneously out of both outputs. So of course the virtual one doesn't light up, but the VGA and DVI outputs do light up. Now that XP is booted, it actually fires the VGA output and the virtual output. It doesn't fire the DVI output until you're logged in. So I'll show that. And yeah, for the most part, I think everything here has custom wallpaper on it for my office space. You see how it's kind of half Windows, half Apple? Yeah, that's freaking slick. It's me showing the unity that I've created between Apple and Microsoft. So of course we can use the same AD credentials. Damn it. My password is almost impossible to type one-handed. Now this side of it hasn't run in a minute, so we're just gonna let it come up here. It might take a minute to find the domain controller, but once it finds it, it's gonna log in. I bet y'all missed that sound. Now I'm just waiting on the video cards to realign themselves, because it does work with all three screens. It's just I haven't ran this side of it in a long time, because I like Windows 10. Well, I appreciate Windows 10. I can't say that I 100% like it. I'm still a little bit sore because I learned that none of my machines are going to support Windows 11, save for that Surface Pro 3 in the corner there. I don't even know if that'll support it, but that Surface Pro is actually still running Windows 8.1. I never upgraded it to Windows 10. It's the only machine that, well, how do I put that? It's one of the only machines that, because I used to have exclusively 8.1 and no Windows 10 down here, but it's one of the machines that I had that had 8.1 that never got upgraded, because I was like, the screen's cracked, who the hell wants to deal with it? So, you know. This is taking an abnormal amount of time. So I will come back once it's loaded up. So I'm going to use a dedicated XP machine that's way more cooperative. By the way, look at that. That XP login window on my custom background just looks so great. Anyhow, my XP partition wants to act stupid. It's running check disk now for some reason. But you know, you can't have it all perfect. Something's always got to break down. Notice the background actually changed. You'll notice it more clearly later. I'll show you. There we go. That's where the machines that natively run XP work well with it. But say like the Acer desktop here, sometimes it just has a problem with it. Okay, enough of that. You see, I've got, oh, we're gonna need to zoom in, aren't we? The file storage, same exact thing. Let's see what crap the file server is feeding this. It still says it's NTFS and there's about 2.02 terabytes available. Now, don't get fooled by that. 2.02 terabytes are available on the data store, not just mine, but that's for everyone. Anyhow, I haven't found a way to reliably, I gotta zoom out so I can reliably list how much storage is available per user. Now, a lot of you IT nerds will come back and say, well, set up storage quotas for each user. Like, go in there. First of all, my file server runs Linux, so I don't know how that will be possible, because you can't change a Linux server settings from Windows. Now, that's partially true, partially false, because in order to secure everybody's folder down on the Linux machine, you actually have to use a Windows machine to do so. So I'm going to show you. I think I still have that one. Nope, it went away. Cool. So this is what it's supposed to look like when you browse the root of the file server as a user that's logged in. You only see your own folder. Say I try to get to somebody else's folder. Windows gonna pretend like it doesn't exist. Yeah, but I know that folder exists. It's just impossible for me to see it because I'm not authenticated to the server under that account. Now, what's really nice, how long is check disk gonna take? There's nothing wrong with the thing. All right, enough of that. I'm gonna leave this logged in. I'm gonna slide over to this 06 iMac here. I'm also gonna log myself in here, because this is another thing that I've set up here, and not many people actually care this much about doing this on a network. They believe in, like, you know, when you log in and log out, you synchronize yourself with the home folder. I believe in live sync, which is something that I've come to believe in since I started screwing around with computers back in the day. I believe if you log on to any machine that supports it, your stuff should be there right when you log in. And if you change something and you're logged into another machine as well, it'll change on that other machine as well. So, notice how I have the background customized. That's not important. Also, this is the thing with Open Directory. I can't remove anything from the dock. And also, Open Directory for admin accounts hard codes the wallpaper. Well, for all accounts, hard codes the wallpaper, and admins and all accounts, I cannot click on desktop and screensaver. It's not possible. In fact, if I somehow get the menu to show up here, you can't do that, can you? I think you can only do that on older machines. But yeah, that preference pane is not allowed to be opened. Anyway, check this out. This is the coolest thing. So say I go here on this Windows laptop, new folder, right there on the desktop. Ah, look over here on the iMac, a new folder popped up. Allow me to delete that new folder on the Windows machine. Yes. Poof. Live sync. I like it like that. Oh, that's why I couldn't cancel check disk, because my keyboard's batteries are low. Oh well. I'm going to switch that back over to Windows 10 over here as soon as it comes up, because this thing is just going to annoy me, I swear. If I can. I shouldn't have to log in. I should be able to just take that. Nope, it's locked out. You can't shut it down using the button on there. I mean, I could kill it, but we'll come back to that. Anyway, so you saw how live sync worked. I can also create a new folder on an Apple machine And that's what I find interesting. Apple machines, when you create a new folder, it calls it untitled folder. It doesn't call it new folder. So you can tell that I created a machine here. Now that's about to come on, so I'll wait for that to do its thing. Maybe the screen will work properly this time and it won't actually just get stuck in the middle. That's what happened before. It got stuck. There we go. Now, of course, it doesn't apply the wallpaper settings properly because it's the XP side. I rarely use the XP side here. I just put it on there for, you know, laughs. Because I got plenty of machines that run XP here. Now, that's only the case with this machine here with the 3 screens and with that Acer laptop in the middle. They're both dual booted Windows XP Pro and Windows 10 version 20H2. Now, another thing, you'll see that the icon for, oh, it just went away, but there was an icon there for the Time Machine backups because my file server actually can throw out a image to the Apple machines that they will use and be able to back themselves up to. I tried to do the same thing with Windows and Windows backup, but you know, it's not exactly perfect. So if I actually click on backup now, it's going to try and connect to it. We'll see. Enter Time Machine. How about that? Connecting to backup volume. While that's doing that, I need to figure this out. Why am I so zoomed in? Properties. Appearance. Settings. Okay. See if I identify that. That's 1 and that's 3. So 2 needs to actually go right here. Yes, I want to enable the monitor. And 2 can actually support, I think, let me try that for right now. Whoa, that resolution is awful. I know it can do, I think it's 1280 by 960 it can handle. Let's see, yeah, it's still too stretched. See if I can run 1280 1024 on it. That's still way too stretched. For some reason, I thought it could handle 1440 by 900. Oh, you know what? Let's do that. That should be about right. Yep, that's right. It can handle 1680 by 1050. That's right. Would you stay put where I need you to go? One's too high. That'll work. All right. Shut down. If I say restart, that should bring me back to Windows 10. And I can also show you that live sync, I'm calling it live sync. I don't know if there's actually a proper term for it or not, but I'm just going to call it live sync because that's what I want to call it. Windows 10 Enterprise, and I'll be right back. I almost wish I had a little tripod for my phone. That's not the right password. That is. That's one thing I like about Windows 10. As soon as you log into it, it actually recognizes it and puts your name up there instead of just the username. That's something Windows 8.1 wouldn't even do. When you log in on a domain account, it would just say the domain and then backslash and then the username. I think Windows 10 starts to be a little bit more interpersonal, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to show you that live sync works here. So we're going to roll over here, and I'm going to cancel that because Time Machine obviously wants to start screwing with me. Really? Really? Not you too. Ah, that damn beach ball. You are really going to annoy me today, aren't you? All right. This guy really needs to be taught a lesson. It's locked up because I think the network disconnected from it for some reason. I used to have an iMac G5 here, but the power supply exploded. So I took it to my guys that repair Apple computers in Mason, Ohio. Shout out to Apple RX. Y'all are amazing. Love y'all. Y'all fixed all my stuff. But the G5 iMac, the motherboard was bad. Power supply was bad. Shut up, Windows. And, you know, they sold this to me for half of what they would have charged to fix the G5. I get it. It's an Intel machine and not a PowerPC G5. That's fine. I mean, it would have been running Leopard if it was a PowerPC G5 machine. And I might have even dual booted it with Tiger. Now, for some reason, this isn't connecting up to one of the domain controllers. I can tell because of that. Oh, now it is. It had a little yellow dot in the username field. Sometimes one of the DCs takes a minute to come on. Would you shut up, Windows? There are no freaking drive errors. It's a damn solid state. What do you mean drive errors? I'll fix it later. The thing runs, it's zippy quick. So watch this wallpaper here. This is what I'm talking about. It says please sign in there in the corner, and the name of the office is right there. Now watch. As soon as that logs me in. There we go. Watch. See? It's just those kind of minuscule changes. Because I take this as more of an art form. The setting up of these networks is more of an art to me than it is practicality. Anyhow, I'm going to show you by means of creating a new quote untitled folder end quote on this iMac on my account on the desktop. You'll see that it will in fact appear on this XP based laptop and on this Windows 10 based desktop. So here, let's have a look see at the desktop here. Why can I not zoom in? My touchscreen is acting weird. You know what? I think that's why. I am going to be right back. I've got to switch modes on my camera. There we go. Now I can get in there. So, you look at the desktop, there's just the normal icons. We'll go over here, we'll look over here, just the normal icons. Now watch. I create a new folder here, untitled folder, and I'll just call it Yay. Actually, I won't save that change yet. It's still going to be called untitled folder on the server. So if we go here, untitled folder has appeared, and untitled folder has appeared. That's that live sync. Now allow me to rename it to Yay by just pressing the return key on the Apple, and watch. There we go. And also, there it is. One other thing I found about live sync, which is pretty insane, there's a hidden folder on the home drive. So if I actually go H:/ for the H drive, and then it's right there because I was messing with it yesterday, the .trash. Hold on. I did something wrong here. .trash. Hold on, we're gonna try something real quick. Now it should be able to be seen. There it is. h:/.trash. Putting a dot before the word trash actually makes it hidden. So with that folder here, this folder is the trash can on the Apple machines on my account. So you know how on the Apple machine, if you drag something to the trash can, and I did not mean to open that as well, so Command W. You see how it shows that there's something in there now? Check this out. So I put it back on the desktop. And now I'm going to go over here on the Windows XP machine and drag this yay folder into h:/.trash. Now, well, do you want to move or copy files? Yes. You see that? The trash can filled up. That's just one of the weird quirks about this entire setup. So I'm going to move it back to the desktop. It's going to ask me if I want to move or copy again, so I hit yes. And there it is. What else is crazy? Now this you can't even do this on the Mac, because you can't create a new folder in the trash can. It's not possible. However, if I was to go on the Windows machine to h:/.trash, yeah, I can create a new folder here. But watch, I create a new folder and it's just going to be in the trash can on the Mac. Yep. So I can delete that folder. It's gone. Trash can is empty. Now, if you look up here in the corner, empty trash is grayed out. New folder in the trash can. Now if I go up here to Finder menu, empty trash is available. Are you sure you want to permanently erase the items in the trash? It's gone. So that can firmly prove that h:/.trash is the network trash can for the Apple. I'm going to go ahead and delete this yay folder off of here. Now when you delete something on the Windows machine, it gets rid of it instantly, because the recycle bin is on the C drive and this is on the H drive, and it's kind of hard to do that. It's kind of hard to put something into a recycle bin on a different drive because you'd have to copy it over to the hard drive. So it just says, are you sure you want to remove this folder and all of its contents? It doesn't say, do you want to recycle it? It just says you want to remove it. So yes, and it's permanently gone. Oh, can I Control Z and bring it back? Absolutely not. So that's pretty much live sync, as I call it. Now, there are several other things I got going on here. So I think I'll just leave these all logged on as me so I don't have to wait again later. I'm not going to get on every single one of these machines. That's pointless. They all basically look the same. That runs XP. That runs both XP and Windows 10. That runs XP. Enough said. That MacBook Pro is a 2011 MacBook Pro. It runs El Capitan. Used to run Mountain Lion, but I found a way to plug in El Capitan to this network and have it cooperate with the older server. I know y'all probably saw my password. I'm gonna have to change it after that. That ceiling light in the background is really reflecting on me. Here we go. Here we go. Wallpaper changed. The dock looks the same. Now here's the other thing that I have to deal with El Cap. This is going to come up literally a million times. So allow me to deal with this, and I'll be right back for another video. Alright, I think I took care of all 50 bajillion of those messages. Anyway, we can see that a more modern version of Mac OS X can hide the useless garbage that's on the desktop from the file server, like this desktop.ini folder and the $recycle bin from the Windows side. It just shows the hard drive like it's supposed to. Cool. Now, also live sync works here. I'm not going to demonstrate it because that's pointless. We know it works. I've proved it on the other 3 machines. I don't need to prove it again. Now, let's move on to a new topic. My print server, because that does remarkable things as well, even though it is so old and it actually runs server 2003. So I'm going to log out of this because I don't need it up right now. Wheel over here. I'm actually going to go into VMware again, so that's probably going to screw with the KVM switch again. And I'll show you that this is in fact Active Directory. I'll put the domain name and then / before it. And we'll see that it will in fact log in. And it's the same way it was. Yeah, sure, we'll keep that. We're going to go to the print server here. Control-Alt-Insert is what it uses for Control-Alt-Delete. I'm going to log in using a built-in admin account because I don't want to download the profile settings onto this machine. I don't need it any slower than it is. Screw it. There we go. Cool. This is logged on as administrator. It also has live sync from the administrator account, but the programs that it needs there's nothing installed on here. I don't even have Firefox on here. That's the default browser of choice here is Firefox. But I don't even have that on here because I don't need it on here. This thing does print services and print services only. It's also a file server, but we don't use it as a file server. Print server. Open printers and faxes. See, God bless it. Stupid KVM. Alright. Gotta remember not to move my mouse towards the corners of the screen because that's what triggers it to pop over to the other one. So if we look here, there are 5 printers installed. Really, there's only 3 printers in the network. There's the Color LaserJet, which sits right there. HP Color LaserJet CP2025. I think it's a DN. It might actually be a DTN because I added the 3rd tray. I had to buy the 3rd tray separately. Oh God, that was expensive. Anyway, then above me and to the left is actually an HP OfficeJet Pro 8600 Premium. Right there. And that... what year did HP release that? Because that actually is... I want to know when HP released that. When did the HP OfficeJet Pro 8600 come up? September 14th, 2011. Remember that day. And in fact, I want to get the HP Color LaserJet CP2025 and get rid of the word premium there because, oh shoot. How about we spell release right? June 17th, 2003. So remember those dates. September 14th, 2011 and June 17th, 2003. So, also, the upstairs OfficeJet sits in my other office upstairs, about 3 floors above me. And it's connected to the same network. It's also an HP OfficeJet Pro 8600, although that's the Plus one, not the premium one. Only difference is this one has 2 paper trays and the one upstairs only has 1. They're both also fax machines. and they both have an extension on the PBX. This machine has 3491, the one upstairs has 3492. We'll talk about the phone system later. This network is so massive, I don't know how long it's going to take me to cover it. However, what's really nice, and Microsoft started doing this in Server 2000. Excuse me, that's not how you say it. Windows 2000 Server. Windows 2000 Server, Windows 2000 Advanced Server. I remember because when Server 2003 came out, they switched the words around. Instead of calling it Windows 2000 Server, they call it Windows Server 2003. They switched the words, which I think it sounds better that way, the way it is now. And apparently the executives at Microsoft agree on that sentiment right there. Sentiment. I can't talk today, I swear to God. Damn KVM switchover. I've got to find a way to lock that thing out so that it does not switch unless I tell it to switch, because that thing is so annoying. It only does it when I'm using VMware workstation on here, because for some reason when it tries to grab the keyboard and mouse from the host, the KVM trips out thinking that the computer's gone offline, and so it pops over to the next available input, which in this case is input 2. I'm going to manually fire it this time. Input 2 is the security cameras. There are 4 here, and I will pan around and show you. Camera 1, camera 2, and look, the cords actually go into the ceiling, because that took me hours to do that. That was a painstaking process. Around here we have camera 3, and on that post we have camera 4. So yeah. Now if you actually look there in that missing ceiling tile, that's the lines going over to camera 3 and 4. They come out of the ceiling right there, all 4 of them, and they go down, and there's a DVR sitting on that wooden shelf up there. It's got a terabyte of storage in there. Anyway, these are BNC cameras. They use the BNC connector, and that's a BNC DVR. But I sure as hell wasn't going to run BNC cabling through the ceiling. That's a lot of extra work, and I don't have any BNC cabling. So, but I do have 1,000 feet of Cat 5 Ethernet. So I went to the Micro Center when I bought those cameras, and I actually picked up some run BNC over Ethernet converter things. So basically you feed the power into it, and you feed the BNC signal into it, and it comes out over a single Ethernet line. So I just ran Ethernet through the ceiling and down converted it back at each camera. It works. Albeit they're in black and white, because these cameras are not designed for this DVR, so it doesn't know how to show color. But that's fine. It's in 1080 frickin' P. It's basically HD signal, 1080p, but black and white. So I can clearly see what's going on here if I need to. And if I really need to, let's see, zoom in on camera 1 there. There's my ugly face. Well, there's my ugly face. Camera 2, I can view here. Yeah, you can see everything. There's cameras strategically placed so you can see everything in this area, including the server. So if somebody's over screwing with the server, I can see it. Alright, back over to the main, because I've got to talk about one more important thing that this print server does. Let's see, is it gonna stay there? Alright. Open control panel, because this is one of the things that it does that I really like. So if we go here to add remove Windows components, if we go here under other network file and print services, if we go to details, look at this. file and print services for Macintosh, and not important, but still there. Print services for Unix, don't use it. But print services for Macintosh, I want to hire. I mean, not hire, but highlight. God, why can I not think today? Print services for Macintosh, I want to highlight because that is very important, and I'll show you why later. Anyhow, anything that's going to print from any machine, it has to go through PS01, whichever machine it is. So let's go on my Windows 10 here, double backslash, or some IT guys to say whack whack, because you know, PS01. We can see that the 3 printers that are available, the LaserJet and both of the Office Jets, are on there. So if I hit open, and I should have it installed already, but it has, the Windows server has 64-bit and 32-bit drivers installed for all of the printers. So this is pretty simple. I know I'm low on paper in there, and I don't have more paper down here, and I'm not trying to walk all the way upstairs, so. But it does work. You know what? I'm gonna rob Peter to pay Paul. Give me some paper out of here. Yeah, this thing is full. There we go. So you can see, now this is what's cool. Printer properties. Come on. There it is. Print test page. So we'll come over here. I'm only going to use the laser printer because I'm low on color ink, well, yellow ink to be specific, in my Office Jet, and I don't want to waste it on trivial crap. So you can see it's right here, but it went through PS01 to get to the printer. But you can see it came from my account on Acer DT, or Acer Desktop number 1. There's only one Acer Desktop, but to match the computer naming scheme, I called it Acer Desktop, or Acer DT001. The 10 stands for the Windows 10 side. The other side is Acer DT001 XP. Alright, so you can see that it worked. Cool. We'll just put that right there. And of course, I've been sitting here too long, so that locked. There's group policy at work. There we go. Start. Control panel. Oh, it was right there in the start menu, but whatever, we're here. Basement LaserJet. Why is that not the default? There we go. You see, the printers that are on the network, it says on PS01. It's the same machine. Printer properties. Really? Okay. That's, oh, there it is. Throw a test page at it there. You see that it actually fed the driver here. It gives the HP message that came from the network. We'll see the old school Windows XP printer test page. There it is. So you see it's got the XP logo on it. Now see, this is the one thing I don't like about it, is that it doesn't show that it came from itself. It shows that it came from the print server. That's cool. I don't care. It's just, it's whatever. You know I sent it from Sony-LT-001. Even from the Apple machine. This is another reason why I left myself logged in here. Print and scan. I don't know if it's good. Yeah, it is set up. Now, I want to see something real quick. Before I do this. Yes, tray 3 is installed. I don't know why it didn't do that. I want to see something really quick. I can't remember if this is set up. Let me check something and I'll be right back. And I'm back via the magic of editing. So, apparently I had an issue with this Mac and it had decided to work around by itself, but that's been fixed. Everything is set now the way it needs to be. So if we go here to the basement laser jet, hold on. Allow us to try that again where you can see the whole screen. Basement laser jet. There we go. Printer. I'm going to say print test page. It's going to be like, hold on, you need to authenticate. Now that's the one thing I don't like. And that is, this is the annoying part when you print from a Mac, Mac that's connected to the print server like this. It doesn't, it's the only thing that doesn't do single sign-on, even though it's the same username and password. So, but it is nice enough to fill the username in for you. However, that won't work because PS01, when it receives that username, it's going to try and authenticate it against itself, not the domain. So you actually do have to throw in the domain name / and then my password. Now, I could say remember this in keychain, but I don't trust the keychain on here because it stores it on the file server. But upon entering the correct username and password, it will print. And we'll see the cups printer test page. Here we go. Yep. Come on, focus. Basement laserjet, description, basement laserjet, location, basement desk. Cool. So that basically works. So that's all well and good. Okay, there we go. Now, I got to talk about some of the older stuff I got here. So again, I'm leaving these 3 logged in. I will be closing this out over here. There we go. Let's venture over here into the classic Apple section. So we'll start over here on this side. And you're gonna have to excuse me, this old chair needs a grease job. And I have been lazy about getting it done. Here we have, on the left, a Power Mac G4, and on the right, a Power Mac G5. Now the Power Mac G4 I've got actually is the mirror drive door edition. It's one of the nicest ones that I could find. Power Mac G5, it isn't even a dual core. It's just the G5 Power Mac. But I kind of souped it up with some extra RAM, so it's got a max it'll support, really, which is... And I've heard it can do more, but I don't need more in this thing. It has 4 gigs of RAM. That has 2 gigs of RAM, so these things basically are really fast. They're both dual booted between Leopard and Tiger, so 10.5.8 and 10.4.11. So I can log in here. Now, live sync doesn't properly work on these old machines, but I mean, it does work. It's just Finder doesn't refresh as quickly on these older machines as it does on the newer ones. See that background change? Yep. That's Open Directory for you. Let's do it on the G5 over here. There we go. So now I've got to remember that I now have 5 computers logged in under my account, and I do believe the file server has a limit of how many times the same share can be accessed by the same person. So I do have to watch that, because if I log on too many more, it's going to start doing some squirrely stuff, and that's a no bueno. So you see, I've got the same basic application set up here. Obviously the older version of Microsoft Office, because that's what's supported. I don't even really use Microsoft Office. Can't really stand it that much. It just is annoying. Now, what I do have on here, LibreOffice, the last version available for PowerPC. Oh, sorry camera. LibreOffice, the last version available for PowerPC. 10.4 Fox, which I have I haven't rebranded. I just renamed the application to Firefox. So, and I had to do that because the way Open Directory locks the docs down, the application has to be the same name in the applications folder on every machine, or else it'll just show up as a question mark. So I renamed 10.4 Fox to Firefox, and then it worked. And I also, just for aesthetic purposes, copied the icon from the old version of Firefox, and I pasted the icon into 10.4 Fox. But if you do open it, which it's going to take a considerable amount of time, because that's just what it does, and I must have it open somewhere, but you can see it does in fact say 10.4 Fox. I'm not going to be able to get it to open because I think I've got Firefox running somewhere in the background on another machine, and it's very particular about not letting more than one open at the same time. Anyway, screw all that. You see there's 2 hard drives here. Now this machine actually is not partitioned in half. There are 2 physical hard drives in it. Macintosh HD LE, Leopard, Macintosh HD TI, Tiger. Now, why do I do that? Because Tiger supports the classic environment, whereas Leopard doesn't. And I like OS 9, and that's going to be another part of this video, so don't log out. We're going to actually restart it by going to System Preferences here, and I'll do this one as well. System Preferences, because it's the same setup here. And I will go to Startup Disk, and I'll go to 10.4.11, and we're going to restart. One thing I like about the PowerPC processors is they output the startup chime through the computer speakers instead of putting it through instead of forcing it through the built-in. So I'll also go here and I'll get ready for this one. 10.4.11, we'll just throw it now. There's this one. And here's the other one. I have the speakers, these Logitech speakers, I have them spliced. The input wire is spliced and it has 2 heads on it, one going to each machine. So I bet you can't tell the difference between Tiger and Leopard from the logon screen, because I have it set so that they look so much alike that there's really no way to tell. Now let me zoom out and activate the wide angle lens. Oh yeah, you can tell because Leopard doesn't do that. Leopard doesn't have that little scroll bar go across in the beginning when it's coming up. Tiger is the only one that does that. Well, Tiger, Panther, Jaguar, Puma, Cheetah, they all have the scroll bar. But now that it's at the login window, you see we got that yellow light because one of the servers is not online yet. Now if I'm lucky, it'll come back properly, because this one did. This is not going to work right. This is sometimes what you have to fight with these things. I know it's not going to let me in. Yep, it's not. This one will, though. Let's see if it wants to argue with me. This is where it could start acting squirrely, because this is now machine. Well, this. Oh no, I logged out of the other two. This is machine 4 now. Logged on as me. Background changed like it's supposed to. The only real way you can tell that it runs Tiger is that the dock is not. The dock is flat. Or if you log on as the built-in admin account, like I'm gonna have to do on this G5 because it's refusing to cooperate. It actually has the Tiger wallpaper instead of the Leopard wallpaper. Utilities. See what the heck's going on here. Directory access. Yes, it's connected. I got all these software updates for Tiger. Good lord. QuickTime 7.6.4. Wow. Let's see if it went back to green now. Yep, it's green now. Sometimes it just needed to be logged in. And that is so the wrong password. Ah. There we go, that's it. Yep. So this is the Tiger side. Also to notice, first of all, quit that. You notice the Apple logo's blue on Tiger, where it is not on Leopard. It's just the small things. Now, can I get into Classic here? That's what I want to know. I think it might be locked out for me to access. Yes, it is. However, if I go here, Applications OS 9, and let's see, just the graphing calculator from OS 9. There we go. Classic environment, Mac OS 9.2. Why am I still a Mac OS 9 fanboy? Because it's still cool. Now you'll notice that the title bar changed to the OS 9 title bar. That's how Classic Environment is supposed to work. And the sounds are there from OS 9, which is actually pretty cool. I can go to the chooser, which is what I would used to do on an older machine. And this is one of the most important reasons why I have a print server running Server 2003. If I go here to chooser, and I click on Laser Writer 8, Windows Server 2003 was the last version of Windows Server to natively support AppleTalk. And that is why I have it as my print server, because it can push the printers on the network on AppleTalk so that my classic Macs can see them. And I don't need to worry about drivers, although in some ways you do need to worry about drivers, because sometimes it can act real squirrely. So in fact, I took, and this was a really painstaking process, I actually took the PPD file, the printer description, and I modified it using TextEdit so that Mac OS 9 can see some of the features of some of the more advanced features of the printers. So, what does that all mean? That means that I can print from the OS 9 machines to, let's see, OS 9, when did the last release of Mac OS 9 come out? 2001, 2002, I think, I can't remember. Anyway, that printer was made in 2003, and like I said before, that printer was made in 2011. I can print from OS 9 and it just works. And I'll show that later, because before I get into OS 9, there's other things I've got to show. Anyway, so the Windows print server, because it's on the same AppleTalk network, literally will broadcast those printers to OS 9 machines. Now this isn't an OS 9 machine, it's an OS 10 machine, but classic environment all the same. So I'm actually going to put this back into, actually hold on a minute, I'm going to leave this one here, and I will put, you know what, I can't do that. I'm going to restart these into OS 10.5 Leopard. Startup disk. I think I've got to authenticate. Really? Why is my account not an admin? Who screwed something up? Goodness. Active Directory, show advanced options, administrative, enterprise admins and admins. That's so weird. Why am I not an admin? Am I an admin? Let me see here. System preferences, show all, accounts. No, I'm not. I think it's not feeding it over properly. Anyway, that's all well and good. I don't really care. Tiger is not my favorite operating system to use. So I will just use the local admin credentials. The only reason why I would ever boot into the Tiger drive on here is so I can make changes to some of the older server software. So we're just going to do that. Now, wouldn't it be curious if this one just works? I'm waiting for that to do its thing. Now let me see what's going on here. Nope, I'm not an admin on this one either. But I tell you what, if I log in on the Leopard side, I would be an admin. It's just this doesn't read the settings properly. And what can you expect? The server, the domain controller that says who's an admin was built in 2013. Well, that operating system was. And I'm running on software from 2005, so. And that is not the right password. And it's got to reboot that again. For some reason, whenever I restart the G5 into OS 10.5, it reboots twice. I don't know why. I can't remember if it does it here too or not. But that's going back into 10.5. I'm going to back up a little bit here. I don't know why that looks so blue. There we go, that's better. Now I got a yellow light over here on this one. It's only seeing one server. Sometimes that'll improve itself to a green saying network accounts available. Nope, this is doing it. Oh no, it's not. I got a red light over here. Network accounts unavailable. Now it's yellow. Well, the solution for that is to log in and fix it as a local account. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of that real quick. And I'll be right back. So after screwing around with some settings here, we see that both the Active Directory and the Apple Open Directory are green. So if we log out, we should have a green light on the login window. And there's the green light, and it's going to refresh when Open Directory hits it. It should. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Anyway, let's check over here before I log out, and we see both lights are green. So we can quit and close and Shift Command Q. There we go. There, that's the refresh right there. See how the username and password fields just disappeared for a second? Alright. That's pretty much that. Now, I'm just going to show what I got over here real quick. And that is these two. These are some twins. They are PowerBook G4s. What year are they from? I think 03. But they're the ones that only have 667 megahertz processors. And when I won both of these together in an auction on eBay. They said they had a gigabyte of RAM. That was true for one of them. The other one only had 256 megabytes of RAM. And it was split up with this one having two 512 cards and this one having no, excuse me. Yeah, this one had two 256 cards in it, and one of them wasn't seated properly, so it only was reading 256 megabytes of RAM. This one was reading a gigabyte. So upon taking them both apart and checking them out, I found that the two 512 megabyte cards were fine in here, and and there was actually indeed two 256 megabyte cards. So I did a little bit of a swap on them, and I put a 512 meg and a 256 meg card in each one, thus bringing each one up to 768 megabytes of RAM. I almost said megahertz. And that is garbage. I hate when it triple rings. I never answer it. That's some kind of telemarket bullshit. Excuse my language. Anyway, those of y'all who know your Apple history know that in order to run Leopard, you have to have at least an 867 megahertz processor, PowerPC G4 or G5 or Intel technically, and you need to have at least 512 megs of RAM. Anyway, these have 667 megahertz processors, about 200 megahertz short of where they need to be. So I didn't realize that until I was going to go install Leopard onto it, and it refused to do it. So I actually looked on Mac Tracker and found out that you need to have an 867 megahertz processor. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to let that stop me. So what I did, and this is probably the most craziest thing, well, one of the most craziest things I've done, is I hooked it up to my G5 with target disk mode, and that thing got a way fast processor, so it obviously would install Leopard. So I just firewired it into this thing, and I just force installed Leopard over FireWire. And when I unplugged it and booted it, it worked. So there we go. Now these are interesting because these also natively support macOS 9. I'm not going to reboot them right now because I'm not going to screw with them. But these are dual booted, macOS 9.2.2 and macOS 10 Leopard 10.5.8. So, I mean, you can change operating systems the same way you change the same way I changed between Tiger and Leopard there. It's in the startup disk. It actually calls it macOS Z1 version 9.2.2. And there's an open directory refresh. I don't know if you caught that. The fields disappeared for a minute. Same thing here. These basically are the exact same. I need to get a new keyboard. That delete key is not attached at all whatsoever, and those two keys are mismatched in color. If I find another keyboard that'll work with this thing, possibly from DV Warehouse, I will buy it and switch it out. Anyway, for the next part of this video, I need to actually go back over to the main area, but not yet. I'm going to turn around here. Now this is a 1999 iBook G3 clamshell, and you'll notice that it is two different colors, and you guys might be like, wait, hold on, they never made one like that. And you're absolutely right. I used to own two of these. The screen broke on one and the motherboard was fried on the other one. So what do? You take the working parts from each one and you build a half and half. So the half blueberry, half tangerine iBook G3. There you go. Now you'll notice it has this login window and it says server log on to. And anybody who's ever done any administration in macOS 9 knows that the only form of network servers you can use on OS 9 is the Macintosh Manager environment. I didn't have that. Now I do. But I didn't. And I'll tell you one thing, Macintosh Manager is the most annoying thing to set up in the history of Apple IT. I'll show you why in a minute. I've tried many different iterations of setting this up, and I'm pretty happy with how it ended up now. So Macintosh Manager actually resides over here on this Mac Mini G4 running Tiger server 10.4.11. Now, here's the catch with that. If you just install Tiger server from the CD, or excuse me, from the DVD, there is absolutely no way to enable Macintosh Manager. You have to go back a version to Panther server 10.3. Install that version of macOS server, and keep in mind the server software wasn't free. Now, I mean, nowadays you can just go to Macintosh Garden and download the images, but for somebody who was actually doing this in its heyday, you would have paid ridiculous amounts of money. I mean, ridiculous Apple amounts of money just to get this set up the way it is. In fact, I'm still logged on here. Let me just unlock it because I want to look up what the actual price of Panther server is, or was. Excuse me. I'm gonna buy, you know what? Wikipedia. Huh. Did y'all know that Apple introduced fast user switching in Panther? I didn't think it was that old. Anyway. The New World ROM, 333 megahertz for faster G3, G4, or G5 processor. Yep. At least 128 megs of RAM, 256 recommended, but minimum of 96 megabytes supported unofficially. Good God, that's not much at all. It's a 17-year-old operating system. All right, now why won't you just tell me what the actual price is? Oh yeah, it also included compatibility with Microsoft environments, including out-of-the-box support for Active Directory. Wait a minute. Rewind. Active Directory support was first introduced in macOS 10.2.8, which is the last version of 10.2. So, anyway. Oh, you know what? I'm not looking at server. I'm looking at this. Okay, so $129 for a single user license. So you would have had to pay that to get the DVD of macOS server 10.3 Panther. Then, if you wanted to upgrade to Tiger server, that's the only way to get Macintosh Manager. You have to install it with Panther server or Jaguar server, or even go even farther back. But I just chose Panther server. So you have to buy that, then enable Macintosh Manager, and then buy Tiger server. So what's that price? $999 for an unlimited client edition. Now, you could go cheaper and get the $499 one, but that only gives you 10 clients. Most people with the businesses need unlimited, so they would have had to pay $1,000 to get that upgrade. Now, like I said, I just downloaded the images off Macintosh Garden because they're so old that nobody even cares anymore. But that's the kind of lunacy that Apple was on back in the day. And I hate to say it, but in some ways they're still on it today. And I'm not one to be like, to be talking about right to repair. I believe in right to repair. That's why I don't never take any of my stuff to the Apple store. So, you know, I know that's big in the news these days. But, you know. Anyway, let me switch over here to, this is input 3 on the KVM, and this is the macOS server running Tiger server 10.4.11. I'm going to log into it using Active Directory credentials. Ignore those other two screens there because they're still attached to the Windows machine. They are hard attached. It's just this left screen that is hot swappable. Now here we go. Now I did the research on this first to find out that in order to put Macintosh Manager on here, you have to start with Panther server, like I just said. And then you could go up to Tiger server. However, if you upgrade to Leopard server 10.5.8, Macintosh Manager is gone. They just remove it. So that's why I will not upgrade this any higher than it is. And this put out a whole nother slew of problems for me because I wanted to put Macintosh Manager on this thing. I said I needed Panther server. Panther doesn't even run on this thing. This thing is too new to support Panther. So what did I do? I found that out because the disk install kept failing. And I actually looked it up and it's like, this thing came with Tiger on it and you really can't go back to Panther. So I had to do something about it because I needed to get Panther on here. Shut up, software update. So what do? I bring the G5 out to rescue me again. I target disk this thing here and I install Panther server and that works. And then I ended up screwing it up later and I had to reinstall it and that was a nightmare, but we're not going to get into that. Anyway, we're going to applications and the server utilities here. And here, Macintosh Manager. Now, excuse me. One would think if anybody had any sense that you could just open Macintosh Manager here on the server and be able to configure it. What is this shit? You can't administer the Macintosh Manager server from the server itself. Please run this program from a workstation. Are you kidding me? Now, Macintosh Manager software does actually run natively on OS 9 and OS 10. It will not run on Leopard at all. But it'll run on Panther and it'll run on Tiger. And I think Jaguar as well from 10.2. But in order for me to do that, I couldn't... See, I tried to manage it from the Leopard machines. That just wouldn't work. So what do I have to do? I had to, and I showed you guys earlier, I had to put Tiger on the second hard drive on both of those. It's just so I could get into Macintosh Manager. Because if I bring up Macintosh Manager on OS 9, yeah, it'll work, but it'll freeze up and all sorts of other squirrely shit will happen. Anyway, that being said, the first time I did this, I actually went in and imported all the users from Active Directory into Macintosh Manager. And, you know, it worked well over here so far, and then I went to go over there. The username and password wasn't recognized at all. So I was like, what the hell? Turns out that it doesn't feed the short username. It only feeds the full name. So instead of being able to type in BroadnaxW into the login field on OS 9, I actually had to type in Walter space G dot space Broadnax space I. And then I could log in with no password on there on the OS 9 machines. And if I set a password on one of the OS 9 machines, it would set it on all of the other OS 9 machines, but it was completely separate from Active Directory passwords. And that was annoying. I wanted it to pull the passwords through Active Directory because this is bound to Active Directory. And it should theoretically have been able to do that. Nope, you can't do that. Because, you know, it would just be way too easy if you could do that. So what do we have to do? I set up in Open Directory on here. I made a second Open Directory network or domain just for this to work with. And I temporarily unbound this machine from Active Directory so that I could go in and create all the users manually and then try and log in. Well, you know, import them into Macintosh Manager, and then maybe that would feed it out to the OS 9 machines. Turns out that that barely worked. And it wasn't working enough, because even if I had the passwords synchronized, because I even wrote a little small script to synchronize the directory's passwords with Active Directory. But it turns out that Macintosh Manager uses its own damn database for password storage. So that didn't work at all. So what do I have to do? I join it back to Active Directory. I kill all those users that I had created on here, and I create one user account. I call it BITeC Systems, all one word. And the password is 8 characters, because you can't set a password on OS 9 longer than 8 characters. So the password's 8 characters long, and I stuck it onto all of the machines that run OS 9 with a little sticky note. And then I created a share on this machine that's over AFP, Apple Filing Protocol, that actually is browsable. Is it under here? I can't remember. No, it's not in there. I don't remember where the hell it is. It's OS 9. There it is. Well, that's not it completely. I'll find it. Hold on. So I ended up calling this DC03. But hold on. Yeah, because I didn't call it DC03. The first time I called it DC03, but then I ended up calling it MMGR server, because it's not really even a domain controller. It's a manager server. So let's have a look here. Now I'm actually wondering how I'm getting this to work. It might be under sharing. You have to manage so many different systems, you can't remember where everything is stored at. Might be in Workgroup Manager for real. Alright, I'm gonna find it, and then I will jump back on here via the magic of editing. And just like that, I found it. It was in Workgroup Manager like I thought. So this is what I did. This thing had an OS 9 partition. Well, not partition, but it had a system folder on there. But OS 9 classic environment won't boot on Tiger server like it would on Panther server. So I had this entire installation of Mac OS 9 just sitting here. So I made use of it, and I took the servers folder and system I took the servers folder underneath the system folder, and I shared that folder on the network for the Apple machines to access. And then I went in on one of the OS 9 machines and I connected to every share on the Linux-based file server, because the Linux-based file server pushes it out over AFP for the Macs. And actually, that's the other thing. Remember in the very beginning when I said that the Linux-based file server fools the Windows machines into thinking it's NTFS? Well, it also fools the Apple machines into thinking it's HFS+. So the file server talks to every machine in its native language, speeding things up. But anyway, I shared this over AFP from here, not from the file server. And from an OS 9 machine, I just connected to all of the file server, all of the shares on the file server, made aliases and dragged them into this folder here on this server. Then, so that makes sense. That folder on this machine has aliases to all of the file shares on the main file server. It's kind of a runaround way to do it, but it's the only way I could have been able to do it that would actually work. So then I use an account on here. I think it's just called OS9 is the username, and I can't remember what the password is. But Macintosh Manager in the settings, I had it set up so that when the user BITeC Systems logs in, it will mount the server's share on, it'll mount it on the OS9 machine. So that way when I go in there, those 5 aliases will show up right there, and I can connect and I can log in using Active Directory credentials on OS9, which in a moment I will demonstrate because that is pretty slick. So that just makes it so all I need is one user account for OS9, and it just works. So we're gonna quit out of these, quit out of that, and I'm gonna log out. Oh, damn it. I don't know why I logged out. I wanted to show one more thing. Oh well, I'll go in under the local account because it would help if I didn't have a cord running across the keyboard. There we go. The Tiger Aqua Graphite, used as the default wallpaper on macOS Tiger server. So we are going to go to Workgroup Manager here. Single sign-on because I'm on a local account on here. If we look at sharing, actually, you know what? I did it again. It's not Workgroup Manager. I needed to go to server this time. Server admin. And shut up, software update. I'm not interested. Not right now. I'll do it later. I don't have time for it right now. That's not single sign-on. Anyway, if I click on AFP, as soon as it loads itself up here, there are 2 current connections. And this is how Macintosh Manager works. It's the most archaic thing I've ever seen. However, it's the only way it was possible back in the day. When you join a macOS 9 machine to Macintosh Manager, it creates a constantly active AFP file server connection between the client machine and this server. Constant AFP connection. Why? Because that's the only way you can have the policies and the preferences. They're all stored as text files on here, on this machine, that the OS9 machines just read. And if you lose the AFP connection, the machine will lock up and you have to restart it. And sometimes the machine will lock up anyway and you got to restart it just because that's just what it is. If I stop the service here, those things will throw a fit. They will, I think what it does is, if it's sitting at the login window, if it gets disconnected from the server, it forces it to shut the machine down. And it's happened before. Especially it happens when I make a change on Macintosh Manager. I got to remember to shut those guys down, the OS9 machines down, before I make any changes, because it gets all screwy because Macintosh Manager goes offline for about a few seconds while it resets, and that causes the OS9 machines to act real squirrely. So if we go to connections here, we'll see that I've got 10.0.1.232 as a Macintosh Manager user. Status is normal. And then 10.0.1.103. I can't remember which one is which, but one is the Power Macintosh G3, the beige one, and the other one is the iBook G3, the color mix match. And if I reboot those PowerBooks, into OS 9 mode, they'll show up on this list as well. I can also kick one of the machines from Macintosh Manager by using this disconnect button, but that will force it to shut down. And of course, when you go reboot it, it will connect right back up. Bonjour registration, that's Apple's little thing. Log on greeting. I used to have it display a message when you logged in, but that was just, you don't need all that. Unlimited client connections, yeah, all that, yeah, yep. Allow clients to sleep for 24 hours. Yep, all that there is good, is all well and good. Cool. So now that's basically how Macintosh Manager works. And now I can understand why you can't administer Macintosh Manager from the Macintosh Manager server itself. Because when you administer Macintosh Manager, it creates an AFP connection to the Macintosh Manager server. So, and you know, you can't create an AFP connection. So let's see if we do AFP. Well, you don't really need to do that. We can just do 127.0.0.1. And this is what you get. This file server is running on your machine. Please access the volumes and files locally. So because it can't go over AFP for Macintosh Manager, it just won't let you administer it. You have to have another client machine running, preferably OS 10, in order to do it. So, you know, that's that. That's why I had to put Tiger over there. Enough talk. Let's see it work and hopefully not freeze up. So I'm gonna switch this back over to the oh, come on, I want you to show the network account status. There we go. Switch this back over to the Windows machine. And we will go over here. I'm gonna try the G3 Power Macintosh. It has decided that it wants to freeze up sometimes. I think it's because of my janky Ethernet wiring. You want to see some janky Ethernet wiring, look down there. I got the switch, the FXS, and a power over Ethernet brick just like laying right there. If you move it at all, it'll disconnect itself. It's super janky. Speaking of which, that is the bottom box there is the main switch for this area, this entire room. Every Ethernet port around the room, from every jack around the room, about 90% of them, because I ran out of space on there. It all has a direct feed back to here. Save for a few things. This Ethernet switch right here, which actually feeds from an Ethernet switch behind there, which that feeds from the main switch down here. That's the only reason why I did that is because I had run out of ports on there. There's also an Ethernet switch over there by where my hypervisor is at, because I only ran one cable over there thinking I wouldn't need to put anything else over there, and then I wanted to put the Surface tablet over there too, so I put a switch over there. Now before I get on here and start screwing with that, let's talk about routing for a minute. At the center of everything is the Asus RTN66R, whatever, but don't let those antennas fool you. The wireless is shut off on that because I don't like it. It does not work the way I want it to. This is an amazing router though, but that's what the Airport Extreme is next to it for. That provides the Wi-Fi. Reason being, I couldn't get any of the XP machines to join up to that Asus. Some kind of configuration error, but they work just fine with that Airport Extreme. And you may be wondering what that other box there in the middle is. Let's have a close look at that. Let's see, we got a power cord coming in, Ethernet coming in, and what's that on the top? RJ11 telephone. So yes, as you may have heard in the video earlier, there is a landline phone here that is for the house. But using that, I've created a DSL connection inside the house between down here and upstairs in the other office that I have, thus putting both areas on the same network and being able to transmit all data on a 2-wire telephone line at 100 megs. Not bad. Not good, but not bad. So that's running data through the phone line, and you can still use the home phone. That does not apply to my phones here. I own BITeC, like I said, but that does apply to the standard home phone line that is in this house. So yeah, that's just thinking outside the box. I used to do it wirelessly, but that was so unreliable, it didn't work. Now above on the top shelf, that's all Cincinnati Bell's crap. So what had happened here, why there's all this was originally never like this. They had run maybe a 2-foot wire coming out of a hole in the wall behind this desk, and they had the Cincinnati Bell gateway and all sorts of other stuff just on the floor behind there. I was like, come on, y'all are really gonna do that? So what do? I buy a couple of Ethernet couplers and a coax coupler, and I stretch the wires up to here, and I terminate them all in this jack plate right here that I had an extra one of. And so that was all well and good, but then Cincinnati Bell kept telling me that this has to be the main. No, it doesn't. That's crap. So what I did is, when I went to the Cincinnati Bell store last time, I picked up this little switch, and the ONT comes directly into here. It gets split out. One of the ports goes out back into that jack, and it actually is the one that Cincinnati Bell ran all the way upstairs for the house's main internet connection. Not anything to do with this. The second one goes upstairs, it goes into this box, converts it to coax, and that goes up to the other side of the house for one of the televisions. And the third one, wait a minute, hold on, I got that all screwed up. One goes upstairs to the house's Wi-Fi, or it's a mesh network that's not part of this system. The second one goes to here, which is the Cincinnati Bell gateway, and the third one goes to my network on the uplink. So that basically sets up 3 individual networks as Cincinnati Bell is concerned. One for the televisions that's connected to each other. That's coming off of here, and one for me, and one for the house's Wi-Fi. So that's worked. Anyway, I bring mine in to my Asus router, and the Wi-Fi comes out of there, and it also sends it up through that StarTech box over the telephone line, and it pops out in the other office upstairs. Cool. All well and good. I have all of this stuff. By that I mean this 24-port TrendNet switch down here, and all these customly lengthed Ethernet cords, and there are some telephone cords in there too, RJ11s, because like I said, I got a PBX, and I've got these Cisco, I think it's the 8800, the SPA 8800 series, and that has 8 analog ports, only 4 are registered. So yeah, that's all set up like that, and it's just hiding away. You can hear it. You can hear the fans just whirring around on them. All right, let me go here. I wanted to show you this. BITeC. So I put in exactly how it says right there on that sticker. And it's logging in to Macintosh Manager. And let's see if it's going to freeze this time. I think it did. I've got to figure out what the hell's wrong with this G3. There's something wrong with it. But this one usually works flawlessly. There we go. That just works. So yeah, you'll see what I was talking about earlier. The servers folder, just the servers volume mounts there, and there's those 5 shares. So if I click on user home folders and I log in with my Active Directory credentials, same password I use everywhere else on the network. Now I've got, for some reason it has triples of these because it hasn't updated right. There we go, now it's updated. That's my home folder. Notice OS 9 doesn't know what a terabyte is. So it says there's 2072.27 gigabytes available, which is crazy. Desktop folder. If I put an untitled folder or a new folder in here, you better believe that LiveSync, as I call it, quote quote, will do what it does. But I don't need to test all of that right now. We've already seen LiveSync work. So the only other thing I can think of is Apple Chooser. And the way that those aliases work is the Linux-based file server spits out an Apple share on the Apple Talk network that I can just browse through AFP. It says I'm already connected to it. Also, that Windows Server 2003 print server, network printer, it brings them all right here, just like it did in classic environment. So what does that mean for me? I can take a machine built in 1998 running software from, a machine built in 1999 running software from when? That's not right. I need system profiler. Nine point 2 production information 2.1. Of course it won't tell me what I want to know. – 2001. A machine built in 1999 running software from 2001. And I don't know, let's open up AppleWorks. It's somewhere in here. Where are you? AppleWorks 6. I could do that, or I could actually, I know I said I don't really approve of Microsoft Office, I just have it for show, but why not? And it's gonna make me register it, isn't it? That's why I don't approve of it. Because every time I log in as a different account, it unregisters itself. And I know how to get past that, but it's just why? What's the point? AppleWorks just works better here. So, you know, it would be cool printing to that, because that was built in 2003 and they did not have drivers for OS 9. And you know, that's all well and good. So I can just do this. This is going to send it to the same files, the same print server that all the other machines send to. But while we're sitting here, it's processing. That G3 is definitely stuck because the clock's frozen too. So, and I'll show what that came out as in a minute. But this is the other cool thing. Remember I said that Office Jet was made in 2011. So let me just send the same test page to a printer that was made 10 years after that operating system was invented, and you'll see that it works flawlessly. Just because that printer has a driver compatible with Windows XP, that Windows Server 2003 can use it and make it work. And I'll just quit out of here. Oh, let me zoom out first so you can see. Quit, don't save, close, 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 and Command Q to log out. I tell you, I'm really impressed with how well this iBook works. As for this Power Macintosh G3, it's frozen. So we've got to Control, Command, button, triangle button. Whatever you old Apple guys call that thing. I call it the power button because that's what it does. That's going to take forever and 3 years to boot back up, so I'm not going to sit here waiting for it. And as you can see, test page. And there it is right there, test page. Cool. So it's pretty cool that all this stuff just works. Anyway, there's more stuff here. So that's going to be in another video. Or actually, you know what? We'll be back using the magic of editing. Echo, lights off. Alright, so real quick, I'm going to show you what I have over here. Not the entire thing, that's going to be a separate video. What I mainly wanted to show is that I use Raspberry Pis here as well. So there is a Raspberry Pi on both of the TVs that I own. And the third Raspberry Pi does something different. And that's the G3 finally booting up 15 minutes later. I don't know why it's so slow. Anyway, that's what it looks like. And hell no, I'm not going to pay for it yet. So yes, it's tagged with evaluation copy. I don't care. It runs. So, these run WTWare, which is a terminal server client application. I had originally put an ARM version of Windows 10 on here, but that was so unbelievably slow that it was unusable. So what do I end up doing? I already have terminal servers set up, Apple, Windows Server 2003, and Windows Server 2016. So what do? I just build WTWare onto two of these Raspberry Pis, and I can just jump right in like that. Let's hit OK. Let's cancel out of it real quick. If I go here, yep, that's Server 2016. And I think I can hit escape out of it. No, I can't. Oh well. But now the legacy one, Server 2003 one, has some really screwy crap going on with it. I mean, it works, but the problem is, at least down here, I don't think it does it upstairs on the other TV, but let me put some sound in here real quick. Oh, that figures. Helps if I type the right password. Let's try and not do that 4 more times so I don't have to go unlock my account. So this is logging on. It's actually operating wxts.internal.thebiteccorporation.com, which is a virtual machine on the hypervisor. So it's much faster than sitting here waiting for it. And it says I need to activate Windows. It is activated. It's just tripping. And this is way too, the resolution is way too screwed up. However, it doesn't matter for me. All that matters is that I've got a basically full functioning computer here on the TV, and it doesn't take up any extra power. Now y'all might be wondering what that is. It's a Dell Optiplex GX280 from 05, well, older than that. It's designed for XP. It's got a Pentium 4, but it has it runs Ubuntu server, and it has the Plex media server on there, and I use that exclusively because while the house does have cable, I don't like it. I like my antenna, so I have it out there, and it's got a tuner card, and I can project that to the Apple TV, which is sitting up here, or there's another Apple TV upstairs, or the Fire TV, which there's one at each location as well. Or if I'm on my iPad, I can watch TV. This also has an 8 terabyte hard drive full of movies and TV shows. Anyway, that's beside the point. Anyhow, so that logs on there. Let's go to this one. I gotta remember to do the domain on here because you see it's set to locally log on, and that's gonna fail. I also gotta watch the battery on my phone because it was running low earlier. I think it's somewhere in the 30s. This is up. I just told myself to watch the domain and I didn't even do it. This is where it gets screwy. Plays about half of the logon sound, and then it just quit. That's all it does. And that's just a wave driver acting up. Because if I go here to let's go to browse the where the actual wave files are, and this is what I'm going to show in my tour of this Sony stereo system that I have here, because that's a whole separate video that I'm going to end up making. Let's just get this. This is what I love about this right here. I'm going to crank it real quick, and I'm going to play that XP startup in its full glory. It won't play natively, but it'll play like that. And that's fine. I just had to hear that. And you know what? I'll give a little sneak preview. I got 2 subs here, so let's try it with both subs turned on instead of just one. Oh my God, that just blows you away. We should run through some Windows sounds. How about that? I mean, why not? The log off sound. The log on sound. You can see there's a big delay from when the sound actually happens to when it's actually played. That's due to network speed. Yep. Damn, that was loud. Battery low. That's actually, you know, when Microsoft designed the XP sounds, the fact that they actually used the subwoofer channel is insane. I love it. Battery critical. Yeah, hardware insert. Classics. Dun-dum. Hardware remove. Dun-dum. Hardware fail. Dun-dum. Oh yeah, and can't be a complete video without shutdown. Such classics. Anyway, enough of that. It doesn't do it here because it just is like that. I'm not going to screw with the Apple terminal server because it's been acting weird lately. Actually, I might do that in a minute. I just got to make sure it's working right. So, via the magic of editing, I will return shortly. Alright, well, I just got it to work, so I'm hopeful that it will work again. So, and I put the wrong password in. Active Directory password. Resolution on this thing sucks, and I think that's part of the Raspberry Pi's fault. But yeah, the resolution is way off the screen, and this is something I'm gonna have to fix at a later point in time, because for some reason this Raspberry Pi is only allowing an 800 by 600 output, which is crap. I don't know why. So in order to just mitigate that for right now, there we go. That'll temporarily work until I can fix it. You can see that it's basically an Apple. Sound does not work whatsoever. Everything I tried just won't do anything. So I said screw it. Now if you look here, use in groups, I'm an admin because Active Directory said so. So that proves that Mac OS Tiger has its head up its ass. Alright, so that point is proven. This actually is running over RDP. So Microsoft RDP controlling an Apple machine that's acting like a Windows machine. That's CodeRebel's IRAP software. So CodeRebel actually doesn't exist anymore. There's other companies that do the similar thing, but I found that CodeRebel software, on the days before they were shutting down, they made their version for 10.7 Lion free. So I went ahead and downloaded it. I burned the DMG file to a CD, and I also have it on the file server. So it's not going anywhere. That's pretty much. Oh, you don't get to see the rainbow wheel. I think I may have locked it up somehow. I don't know how. But anyway, that we'll take care of that. There's nothing really more you can do with that. It's there just for, you know, the cool factor. Anyway, the only other thing I've got to show that's part of the network now is the phone system. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, by the magic of editing, we'll be back shortly. real quick, for those of you who are wondering, the Macintosh, well, excuse me, not Macintosh, the Mac OS quote terminal server end quote, that is what MTS is, because I know I didn't explain that, but the machine MTS Mac terminal server. So yeah, there's that little piece of information. I had to reboot MTS. It was stuck. That's why my session on the Raspberry Pi froze. This, of course, is a virtual display for MTS, powered by VMware. I know the next thing is supposed to be the phone system, but I think I'm going to include one more halfway point step. And there's that yellow dot there. I'm waiting on it to go away. Hopefully I don't have to, unless that's what happened. Maybe that's why it froze up. So I haven't used it in a while. I think AD kicked it out. I don't know. It shouldn't do that. No, it works. The yellow light went away. On the more modern versions of Macintosh, there is no green light, but there is a red light, which means no servers are available, and a yellow light, which means some servers are available. But if a green light is there, it's just nothing. So yeah, that works. Close that out. And we'll close that out too. I don't need that. Now, the first and the second Raspberry Pi do the same thing. They're both hooked up to a TV. The third Raspberry Pi I have, listen. You hear the music start in the background? This is a jazz radio station from the Netherlands. Internet radio. I use it as background music because it's calming. Now, how do I have it coming from both sides of the basement simultaneously when obviously I just started it from a Raspberry Pi? So let's have a look over here. We're gonna go over here. I'm just gonna hit OK on that so that resets. These little boom boxes here, the closer I get to it, it kind of makes it go staticky. But look right here in the background. The Raspberry Pi is back there, and I've hodgepodge electrical taped it to a whole house FM transmitter, broadcasting locally here in the house on frequency 107.9 FM, which I've tuned that to, and I've tuned the radio over there to it as well. You can't see it from there. That big ass box is in the way. There it is. Now, those of y'all who know about the Raspberry Pi knows that you can create multiple desktops. And I'll show why that's important in a minute. Because you can run multiple instances of the same program on different desktops. And that really came in handy for the next part, which has a lot to do with the phone system. So, and also, I'll show you what it does. It is actually pretty cool. Any radio in the area that's inside my house, really in this area more specifically, if I why is that on 91.7? Direct 10790. So it's the same channel, the same station, feeds through to my hi-fi. that's enough of that. Anyway, that works. All right. Now, onto the phone system, which equally itself is quite remarkable. I use Asterisk. I used to use 3CX, however, and don't get me wrong, 3CX was amazing, but there are certain few key features that 3CX didn't have that Asterisk had. Priority alerting, compatible with the Astra phones here, was one. Also, being able to use a centralized user database for authentication to the soft phones. That's right. Again, the same Active Directory username and password used to log on to every computer can also be used to log into the soft phones. Third, music on hold from a live source. If you call my office and get placed on hold, the music on hold is the same feed that feeds this 107.9 radio here. So, now, you know me, I'm a bit of a tech nerd, so while I do the phone demonstration, I'm gonna putty into the phone server. And I will show all of the status messages that happen when you're on the phone server. Well, what the phone server does in the background, really. So let me just run rasterisk, or I could just do asterisk space dash VR, but I found that the shortcut way is just to run asterisk, but instead of just being asterisk, you put an R in front of it, making it rasterisk. And that just opens that up. So you might see some occasional status messages happening here. But say I was to pick up this phone right here on extension 3301, and we're going to call over to 3302, which is right next to it. Oh, wow, that was dumb. This is not 3301, this is 3201. 3301 is upstairs, and when I put in 3302, it called the upstairs second line, like it was supposed to. This is 3202. So let's try that again. 3202. That's better. You see all that appeared on the screen. As soon as I answer it here, you know what? This is not, hold on, this is not verbose enough here. I need to have Control C. I need to CLEAR. Let's asterisk. I will make it as verbose as possible by putting like a million V's before the R. And this should show everything. So now if I pick up the 3201 and I punch in 3202, that's what I'm looking for. So let's have a look-see at this real quick. User 3201 in a new stack. Basement desk 3201. It's ringing. It says it wants to call 3202. So if you look through here, all these ifs, go to subs, returns. And I'm just letting it ring because there is no voicemail on here. Now, that thing, well, I just said there was no answering machine, and that thing decided to answer itself even though it's disabled. That's the thing with these with some of these phones, some of these analog phones that have a built-in answering machine. If it rings and rings and rings, the thing will just pick up even though it's disabled, which is so annoying. But here, let's look through this. So I punched in 3202. I was on 3201. It fed back the name saying basement auxiliary, and that's actually what showed up on the screen when I punched it in. It came back saying basement auxiliary, which is what I called that extension. And then this all happens in an instant. Executing PJSIP 3202 in a new stack. It realizes that 3202 is an analog device, so it reroutes it to the FXS box under there, the Cisco, which is at 10.0.0.6, and it reroutes it to port 3 on there, because the Cisco box knows which extension is on which port. So the target address is 10.0.0.122, which is that phone. I can tell you that right now. And the that was the source address. The target address is 10.0.0.6 on port 3, but really it's port 17.396. It just routes itself inside. Created a simple bridge, joined 3201 and 3202 to the simple bridge. This is all happening in a matter of microseconds. So let me try something real quick. Take off some of these V's, maybe I can see. And that's not verbose enough. That's better. Yep, there at the very bottom is what I'm looking for. PJSIP 3202 is ringing. And as you can hear, 3202 is ringing. Hang up. And it said, executing macro hang up call. Hang up 3201. So that means I hung up and the call is ended. Spawn extension ext local exited non-zero. So it means I exited the call, thus ending it. Now, can I clear this? No, I gotta exit and then clear and then re-enter it. There we go. So now I can show you, let's see, I said 3491. 3491 is ringing. I'm going to hang that up because after the second ring, that is the fax machine. After the second ring, it will auto answer, and I don't want it to auto answer right now. Now, that's analog only, of course. 3202 is analog only, 3203 is analog only, but 3201 actually is both IP and analog, being that it has the basement desk phone here is obviously it's an IP phone. There's another one over there and another one on the wall over there, but also these BITeC handsets are also on 3201. So I'm going to take 3202 here. I guess I should really clear this screen again, so Control C and then CLEAR and then get back in there. I'm going to be on 3202 now. Hold on. My phone cord is tangled. There we go. We're going to punch in 3201 pound. So you can see it's ringing there, and there we go. I can hang that up. It says spawn extension 3202 exited the call. There we go. So that basically is telling you that, look, it's telling you what's going on in the phone system. Now, that's one of the things why I chose asterisk, because I will call over to 3202. I will pick that up, and then I'm going to take this phone. Yeah, you can hear me. I'm going to take this phone right here, and I'm going to flash it, which is going to tell the Cisco box to activate the second line on that extension. So what that's going to do is, oh God. What that's going to do is that's going to put this call on hold. So let's flash. You can hear. Started music on hold, class equals default on PJ-SIP 3201. You hear it's playing the same thing that's on the radio. I could hang up, it'll start ringing back because there's a call on hold. Yeah. All right, cool. So that's how that works. Now, what else does this phone server do? A bunch of stuff. First of all, 81692. That is not right. I think it's 81602. So this is basically a intercom. Well, not intercom, paging. And it's coming, my voice is coming out of this phone, that IP phone, and the IP phone over there on the wall. 81602 does down here. 81603 does upstairs only. And of course, this is where the Raspberry Pi comes in. 81604 just goes to the Raspberry Pi over RTP, and it sounds something like this. 81604. Check 1 2 3. Check 1 2 3. You can barely hear it, but it is there. Let me see. Can you hear me now? Let me use a digital phone because those things have more amperage on when it comes to pushing a signal across. So 81604. Check 1 2 3. Check 1 2 3. So that is coming over the radios there, and actually anything tuned into 107.9 FM will hear my voice right now, talking over the music on hold, or not music on hold, but talking over the ambient music. So there's that. Now, of course, what kind of a PA system is it if you don't have a global alert? So 81651. Now my voice is coming out of everywhere. But I have come to learn that this AT&T phone that I'm talking into is a piece of crap. So we're gonna go over to the tried and true Lucent, because Lucent just works. 81651. Check 1 2 3. Oh yeah, that works a lot better. It's coming out of the radios and it's coming out of the phones. So that works perfectly. Now, this is on 3203. I call that down here, the 3203, I call that the wraparound line, because it's there, it's there, it's there on the wall, It comes in as line 2 on the AT&T handset, line 2 on that, line 2 on that beige phone, line 2 on that handset on the windowsill. It's there, and it's here on that. Also, if you walk around here, there is actually a handset for 3203 right here on the wall. And in the closet where the furnace is at and the AC unit, there's one there too. So no matter where you are in the basement, there is always a 3203 extension handset somewhere nearby. As you can imagine, 3203 has quite the amount of phones ringing when somebody calls it. So I'm going to use my SpectraLink extension 5232. We're going to punch in 3203. And I think it's going to freeze because this thing takes forever sometimes. Oh, there it goes. You see it fed the information back to it too. If that doesn't throw me back to the old days in high school, I don't know what does. Speaking of high school throwbacks, 81694. I think I was too slow. I mean, yeah, I was too quick with it. Hold on. 81694. Yep. That works. And I just did that just for fun. Anyway, that was the feature with the music on hold. And the Active Directory synchronization, which I haven't showed that part yet. That is pretty easy to demonstrate. All I got to do is open up the UCP user control panel. Again, using Firefox, because why not? Shoot. I think I can get to it like this. I might need to go IP address. Yep. Screw you, SSL. UCP. And this right here, Active Directory username and password. There we go. I have my extension. Now, of course, I'm going to get all these errors because I'm connected to it not using the proper method of connecting to it. So I've got all of these things that I've put in here on my dashboard, so I can see my voicemails here, contacts if there were any. I can tick call forwarding on and off. I can tick on do not disturb. If I tick my do not disturb switch on, here, look at the phone screen here. If I tick it on, it just takes my phone off hook. Or also, if I set my presence to do not disturb, it automatically ticks it on. Let me set myself to available here and just watch. And I'll set myself to do not disturb. And there it goes. So yeah, set myself to available, my light will go back off. Also, my light lights up on these as well, because this is showing that I'm on Do Not Disturb. And if somebody tries to call me while I'm on Do Not Disturb,
the person at extension 4700 is on the phone.
yep, that's how that works. So we go back to, I'm gonna set mine back to away because that's the way I had it. I really don't want to be bothered right now by anybody. So there we go. UCP, the asterisk user control panel with authentication against Active Directory. So that's pretty much every service in this network with a single username and password database. Windows-based, Apple-based, Linux-based, even some FreeBSD-based stuff. I never thought that would ever be possible. All right, enough of that. I have the main line open, so let's go ahead and demonstrate a call. So we're gonna go to my tried and true Moto Z4, which I need to put on Do Not Disturb so I don't get blown up with notification. Come on. There we go. Shut up. So I'll just call my main number. And this is the procedure that happens whenever somebody calls in. So you notice how, real quick, 3201. Actually, you know what? I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Hang that up. Where's the backspace at? We'll just punch in 3000, which is the main line number, and I'll just call it from there. I'll turn it up so you can hear it good. So it's a single ring, and in fact, it should also grab it should have also rang on the SpectraLink. Reason why it didn't is because I didn't actually simulate incoming call. So we're just gonna go 701. There's that. Now, Asterisk incorporates Bellcore for priority alerting, and that's one of the things I've always wanted. So you notice how it was a single ring, ignoring the SpectraLink, which always does what it does. But watch. I will call my office from an outside source and listen to the phone now. Oh, hold on. Let me actually click call. There we go. Maybe if I have some service. Waiting. This is why I switched to iPhone. This is exactly why I switched to iPhone. This thing is annoying. That's why. Let's see if it'll work now. There we go. That should do it. Double ring. That is Bellcore DR2 activating a double ring. I can pick the phone up here. Here, let me throw that Android on speakerphone. I can pick the phone up here, and it works. So yeah. Let me try this again. And this time I'm going to let it ring and show you what happens after the 5th ring. Turn the radio up a little bit. Say I got it blasting in here and I can't hear that the phone's ringing. This is ring number 5.
Please hold while your call is being transferred. There's an outside call parked on
101.
So it said there's an outside call parked on 101. So I can go to any phone, punch in 101, and now I have the call. And if I figure out it's not for me and somebody else, I pound transfer, and I 777, and that sends it back to Park.
There's an outside call parked on
101.
And you'll hear the on-hold music is coming through my crappy Android speaker as well. So I'll pick it up here, 101. And I'll hang up here. Well, I'm not going to hang up, actually. I'm going to send it to... double ring. Now listen to the handset here, too. Double ring. Double ring means outside call.
The person at extension 3201 is unavailable. Please leave your message after the tone. When done, hang up or press the pound key.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Hang up. There it is. Instant delivery of a voicemail. You'll see the lights flashing here. And it's also flashing over there. And the cordless phones say new voicemail. So how do we do this? 770.
Comedian mail. Mailbox. Password. You have 1 new and 1 old message. Press 1 for first message.
testing 1, 2, 3.
Message deleted. No more messages. Press 3 for advanced options. Press 5 to repeat the current message. Press 7 to undelete this message. Press 8 to forward the message. First message. Message undeleted. Message deleted. No more messages.
It said there's an old message on here somewhere. I don't care.
Press 5 to repeat the current
But notice,
message. Press
the message
7
light
to
is still
undelete
flashing,
this
even though there's
message.
nothing in there.
Press 8 to forward the message to another user.
Now, as soon as I hang up,
9 to save this
then
message.
Asterisk
Press
will
star to
update
help or pound to exit.
all phones that the message is gone. So I'll hit pound.
Goodbye.
The light stops flashing. And message light goes out. So that works really well. I'm very pleased with that. Now, I've showed you that the IP phones and the analog phones can ring with Bellcore. So now I'm just going to dial the other line here, This is the one where you can put the extension in from outside. And I'm going to call right to 3203, and you're going to hear those things double ring. Might help if I hit the pound key. That's a double ring. So that means there's an outside call coming in. I hung up. There's actually another line to dial that allows you to come through as a priority call. And this one I'm going to send to here, but that'll be in the next video. There we go. Man, I have awful service down here on this thing. Priority calling. A triple ring is a priority call. Like so. I said like so. I am getting really sucky service down here. Let me try this real quick. Let's try this. It helps if I don't use the Wi-Fi, because Verizon's Wi-Fi calling is weird. There we go. So a triple ring, that's Belcore DR3, and cordless phone is here, listen. Triple. So that is a priority call. You notice it actually said priority on the screen as well, just in case you don't know. Now, if you know me and you know I like to screw around with stuff, one of my favorite things to do, and this is back when I first started to get interested in phone systems. I like the fact that you can take a call and transfer it to another extension. That's just, I don't know why. Ever since I first saw my first PBX system, I was like, that's just so cool. So, you know, then that evolved into transferring a priority call from one extension to another one, and realizing that it actually reinitiates Belcore information if you transfer a call and then complete the transfer. I'm going to throw this Android phone into the creek. There we go. Triple ring. And now I'm going to take this call. I'm going to transfer it over to 3203. And what's that going to do? When I start the transfer, it's going to ring single because it's going to be an inside call. But when I complete the transfer, it's going to upgrade to Belcore DR3 and start triple ringing. So let me zoom in on that so you can see what I'm talking about. And we're going to go transfer 3203, dial, and transfer. Yep. And I'm gonna just do a call pickup here, so that'll be damn, zoom out. ** 93203. And I stole the call back. So that works. Yeah, that's pretty much the phone system. I mean, you know, There's the fax line. You know, if somebody calls the fax line, the fax machine does actually double ring. Or if I was to transfer this call over to the fax machine would triple ring. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyway, that's pretty much all I've got to show you with this entire system. I showed pretty much everything. And it only took me just about 3 hours to do. So, more quasi-interesting IT work. And you know how it goes. So, you know me, I'm just gonna sit here and relax, listen to this jazz. And I'll catch y'all later. Thanks for watching. This has been the 2021 August update of my network. So we're gonna throw this one in the logbooks and call it good. Anyway, y'all have a great day. Peace.